You know, when most of us think of yoga, we picture physical poses, right? But what if it's way more than that? What if it's a complete journey to wholeness? Well, today we're going to dive into that journey through the incredible life and wisdom of one of yoga's greatest modern masters, B.K.S. Iyengar. This quote, man, it just nails the heart of his whole philosophy. See, Iyengar's path isn't some exclusive club for super flexible people. Nope, it's a universal quest. And it starts with something we all feel, just a simple desire for a better, happier, freer life. He's telling us the journey inward begins the moment you simply want it. But to really get where he's coming from, we've got to go back to the beginning of his story. And let me tell you, it doesn't start from a place of strength or power. It was the exact opposite. I mean, can you even imagine that? This wasn't some future guru in the making. This was a boy who, by all accounts, wasn't supposed to make it. And what's just incredible to think about is that this profound weakness, that became the very seed for all of his strength. It's one of the great transformation stories in modern wellness. His childhood was just a relentless battle. Look at this list. We're talking malaria, typhoid, tuberculosis. He described himself as so frail that his head felt too big for his body and he could barely lift it. So this constant state of sickness, it wasn't just some sad backstory. It became the literal foundation for his entire life's work. So picture this. He's 18 years old, and he's sent out into the world with pretty much nothing but this yoga practice. People thought he was a good-for-nothing, pursuing something that, frankly, they thought was a little mad. In a world that felt pretty hostile, yoga wasn't just a choice, it was his lifeline. It was his anchor, his personal lab for survival and self-discovery. And it's in that intense, personal laboratory that Iyengar makes a huge discovery. The journey to the mind, to the spirit, to all the deeper stuff, it had to start with the most solid, tangible thing we have, our own body. I absolutely love this metaphor. He didn't see the body as something to perfect just for looks. No way. He saw it as his first instrument, like a ship for navigating the vast, beautiful, and sometimes pretty dangerous ocean of life. For him, the body was a map to be explored. Every single coastline, every single hidden reef. So this reveals a really counterintuitive approach. You think a spiritual journey starts, well, with the spirit, right? But Iyengar's yoga says, nope. You start with what's manifest, your arms, your legs, your breath. The idea is to use the physical body as a tool, like a chisel, to sculpt and eventually get in touch with your own consciousness. You literally work from the outside in. So, once he started to map the body, he turned to the next great unexplored territory, the human mind. You know the one, that chaotic, brilliant, and yes, sometimes self-sabotaging force inside all of us. And this is super important. Iyengar made a key distinction. He said, we have our everyday mind, which is like a restless monkey, always jumping from branch to branch. But underneath that, we have our deeper intelligence, which he compared to a perfectly still, clear lake. It doesn't react, it just reflects reality as it is. So the goal isn't to stop the monkey, right? It's to access the stillness of the lake. And this brings us to a question I think we've all asked ourselves. Why do we fall into the same traps, the same patterns, over and over again? Well, yoga suggests the answer isn't a lack of willpower. It's that we don't understand the deep-seated patterns that are really running the show. Yoga points to these 5 root causes of our suffering. They're called the klishas. And notice, they're not called sins. They're just universal human conditions. It all starts with avidya, which is basically ignorance of our true self. And from that one root, everything else springs up. The ego, the pride. Raga, that's our attachment to pleasure, the feeling of wanting just one more bite of dessert. And dvesa, our aversion to pain, like when we avoid a difficult but necessary conversation. And it all leads to that big one, the clinging to life and fear of death. So if we map the body and we start to understand the mind, where does all this lead? Well, the ultimate goal isn't just a perfect triangle pose or a few quiet moments. It's something way, way more profound and transformative. The destination of this whole journey has a name, moksha. It's a Sanskrit word for ultimate freedom. But listen, this isn't freedom to do whatever you want. It's freedom from all the internal baggage, the anxieties, the fears, the attachments that really hold us captive. It's the freedom to finally act from a place of real clarity and peace. And yet, Even after a lifetime of devotion and mastery, Iyengar said this. It's just a statement of such profound humility. He's reminding us that moksha isn't some trophy you win at the end. It's a path you walk, a continuous journey of becoming, even for the masters. Okay, so this all might sound very philosophical, but maybe Iyengar's greatest contribution was making it practical. So how does this ancient wisdom actually apply to our modern lives of traffic jams and deadlines and family stuff? He made a very conscious choice. He could have been a secluded monk, but he chose the life of a householder. He wanted to prove that yoga's greatest laboratory isn't on some remote mountaintop, but right here, in the middle of the beautiful, messy chaos of our ordinary, everyday lives. He taught that a truly fulfilling life means balancing these four aims. He pictured it like a river. On one bank, you have your dharma, your purpose, your ethics. On the opposite bank, you have moksha, your inner freedom. And the river flowing between them, that's your actual life. Artha, your work and how you support yourself, and kama, your love, pleasure, and human connection. You really need all four for a balanced life. And ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. This whole profound spiritual journey isn't about escaping reality or floating away on a cloud of bliss. It's about the exact opposite. It's about planting your feet more firmly, more authentically, right here on the ground, in the life you are actually living. And that leaves us with a final thought. A question not for monks or masters, but for every single one of us navigating this journey of life. It's a question about being grounded, about being present, about being real. So just take a moment and ask yourself, where are your feet planted?